Hello and welcome to our presentation on assessment for learning. My name is Jamie Brunson and I am representing Lyndon Battle, Alex Power, Jamie Turner and Zoe Pye Wilcox. Okay, so first of all, just going to do an introduction on AFL. So in this presentation we're going to be discussing assessment for learning, but we'll be going into more detail on the following points. Going to be discussing what is AFL, AFL strategy, how we can assess within assessment for learning, how is AFL relevant to physical education, and we're going to conclude on our thoughts. So first of all, we're going to give you a definition. Now we got two or three, but we believe these two are kind of the best. So one definition is assessment for learning is the process of seeking and interpreting evidence for use by the learners and their teachers to decide where the learners are in their learning and where they need to go and how best to get there. Also, another definition is assessment for learning turns the classroom assessment process and its results into an instructional intervention designing to increase, not merely monitor, student learning. So, what is AFL? AFL is a consistent assessment, an assessment process done knowingly and unknowingly by the students, giving both the educators and students chances to constantly assess. AFL is a method that can be used to see how the students are doing within their academic studies. This can be done in many ways that we will discuss later. AFL also has a big emphasis on the learners being able to see, understand and acknowledge their ability when it comes to learning. This can be things such as good or bad modelling, through understanding levels of ability. This gives the learners opportunities to find themselves ways in which they could improve themselves. And then also AFL is breaking things down, keeping things simple, and this helps with the progression. So for example, going one part at a time. So the AFL strategy. This is a strategy that we found and can be used really well. So going on. Building on the work that most successful schools are strategies how to make assessment for learning more widespread, systematic and consistent. Our aims is that every child knows what they are doing and understands what they need to do to improve and how to get there. They would be getting support when they need to be motivated and help support the independent learners and guide them onto the correct path. Every teacher is equipped and well-funded judgments about the pupils' attainment, understanding the concepts and principles of progression, and knows how to use their assessment judgments to forward plan, particularly for the pupils not fulfilling their full potential. Continuing this, with every school has in place structures and systematic assessments for making regular, useful and manageable and accurate measurements of pupils and tracking their progress. Then moving on, every parent and carer knows how their child is doing. They know what they need to do to improve and they know how to support their child and their teachers, how to guide the students. So, how to assess within assessment for learning. Throughout AFL, we use many methods of assessment. These methods can consist of position, action, timing, which is otherwise known as PAT, effective questioning from both students and the teacher, and also peer and self-assessment. So looking at this picture, we're looking at PAT, position, action, timing. Now we notice there's quite a lot going on in this picture. For one, the attacking team, number 7 on the white, has just done a spike, or is just about to complete a spike. The position is right next to the net. The action would be jumping and that swinging arm motion going to hit the spike, and the timing would be judging the ball on how high it is, when to jump, where to get under the net, when to get under the net. Also, on the opposite team, we notice that there are two players attempting to block the ball. This is another good example of position, action, timing. This position getting right by the net, position getting up above the net, putting the hands up, action going up for the block, and the timing is judging when the opposite member of the team is planning on spiking so they can get a good deflection. Now there is another good example what we can use. Number 8 of the blue team is in a good defensive stance position, ready just in case if the ball is spiked over. She's ready in a position to dig the ball back up and help their team to gain a point. Stop them from gaining a point. Then we go on to this little figure over here. This is what we would like to use as effective questioning. Throughout questioning is done to engage both the students and the teachers to help explore and guide the learning. This also helps to show understanding. So what we might include in an effective question is a open-minded question, not a closed question. So the closed question will consist of a yes or no answer, where a open-ended question could lead to an explanation or example at the end of that. Now going on to the peer and self-assessment. This is a big one that we could use. Now you noticed we're going to start on this left hand side. You can see that there's someone thinking, and there's also kind of like a progression through levels. With self-assessment, as you can see on the left, it's a lot of thinking. So you could be thinking of ways in which you've done, how have you done, have you done anything good, have you done anything maybe not so good, could you improve. That was all about assessing your own ability. Now on the right hand side you can see a group talking. You can see a lot of bubbles, meaning a lot of ideas, a lot of talking. This is peer assessment. Peer assessment is not just you, so you're not the one just assessing yourself. You have others in your group assessing you on your ability. Now this is a good thing. It means you could get different people's point of views, you could get other ideas, you can see what you're doing and get opinions from other angles, which in return could help you improve. Now how could AFL link to PE? So you start basic and progress accordingly. This relates to skill complexity. So for example, if you were just starting a sport, you wouldn't progress onto the hardest skill in the game. So for example, if we're talking about badminton, you wouldn't start off with a smash. You would first start of all trying to hit the shuttlecock, maybe starting with a serve, and then gradually progress. You also wouldn't just let people start on a serve. You'd kind of break down the skill, making it easier to understand. Then we're going on to use of demonstrations and modelling. So for example, this could link to peer and self-assessment, especially working with your peers or even the educator at the time could demonstrate good technique through good modelling. But also if you are practicing a skill and working in a peer group, then you could watch how others may be performing a skill. You could get good feedback, maybe you could get bad feedback. Do you need to do this? Do you need to do that? Would this help? And why? Does it have any link with the rules or the game itself. Then going on to constructive feedback. This is a very important thing when using AFL, because a lot of the time some teachers might just say, oh, you need to do that, you need to do that, but why do you need to do that? Could it be linked to the rules and the game, like just said? Then going on to use of practice. This is, I think, kind of use of skills learned from drills, and would those drills help to transfer those skills within to games? Are there many different ways to transfer those skills? Is it hard? Is it difficult? That's why use of practice would be important. Now this picture kind of says a lot about AFL and assessment for learning. The statement could represent the learners, and the jigsaws could represent many types of assessment. So through using different types of assessment, it helps you to probably gain knowledge, experience, and you would gradually learn and start to put the pieces together, and through doing that you will start to achieve success, and in this case build a bridge to success. Now coming to the conclusion, just coming up with a few things. Do schools use assessment for learning? Now the results of what we found is yes, a lot of schools use assessment for learning. Through the strategy, it shows that a lot of schools do actually use this, and it has seen to be successful within those schools. Linking that to the next one, does AFL work? Well, yes. Through many types of assessment, it has seen that it has many positive results, and in our opinion, through using it personally in our own sessions, our own coaching sessions, teaching sessions, we believe that the many types of assessment helps to gain the learner's knowledge, experience, and understanding of maybe a topic. Finishing off with some references, and thank you for listening.